Hello, Master speaking. Today's topic is how to build your grit by reading comic book hero. So what is grit? It's the character that shows passion and perseverance. It's similar to resilience. So why should you care about grit? To achieve a career goal. School gives you a careful plan. There's a curriculum, there's an exam that you have to complete, you have to read this much amount of textbook. It's quite simple. But after that, you need to craft your own career plan. Should you take a different position inside the company? Should you move up your job? Get hired by a different company? Should you start looking for different companies? Should you start talking with recruiter? Or should you go into a new career, brand new position? You might be in a dying industry and you're thinking about this high-tech booming industry to move there. You have to learn a new skill, but it's tough. You have to go through this lengthy period of skill building on your own. When I was working as a software engineer, boot camp was very popular. It's like a 2 months short period work-oriented program, work-oriented university basically, where you can learn software skills to get hired right away. And many of the folks there were coming from different positions, different industries such as restaurant business, or they used to be in media, traditional media, journalism. Software industry seems to be booming, so that was a good plan. Or maybe you want to start a blogging or YouTubing. These take time, and in the beginning there's no feedback. There's nobody who's saying you did a great job or you did even a crappy job. You're just dead silent, and you have to be persevering. And it is a long-term motivation you need to keep up. The earlier you have come up with this plan and stick to it, the higher the mountain you can climb up in this strategy. Well, you need grit and a relationship too, even. Romance happens like magic in the first 3 to 6 months. You don't need to do anything. Everything is doing great. But after that, the magic is gone and things start to get comfortable. And what you need to do is you have to do some maintenance work. Otherwise it gets mundane and boring, and there's nothing new about it. So you can do housework sometimes, or doing nice things for your girlfriend or boyfriend. Like you can explore a new area in your city, go to different restaurants, try out new kind of food. You have to take initiative to these things. It doesn't just happen magically. Or you need a better health. We are living long life, but you have to take care of yourself. We live in such a junk-heavy culture. It's so tempting. Like all the advertisements show these McDonald's, pizza, Coca-Cola, all these ice creams. They are all tasty, I know, but you know it. Obesity, it's coming up. It might not be happening to you now, but in 10 years or 20 years, if you don't maintain yourself, it just comes up. Exercise is the same thing. It's so easy to slack off. There's so much entertainment right away on your smartphones, on your laptop. You just click on Netflix and you can have an endless amount of slacking possibility. And you can now should be running to keep your brain young. They know that now maybe there's a potential cure to Alzheimer's disease. So running help it prevent it too. It's a study there. Well, there's a substance addiction. So 71% of smokers regret they started smoking in the first place. But it's so tempting. Like if you have a bunch of friends who smoke, then it's very hard to resist. Cigarettes can be alcohol, marijuana. In Canada, it's been legalized, so you can just smoke. Nothing is stopping you. But is it a good idea to smoke for 24 hours just because it's relaxing. Probably not a good idea. It just ruins your life. So grit is not something you do it if you want to become a billionaire. All these small lifestyle changes add up, and you need to be persevere about these changes, positive changes you want to make to your life. So what is the research about for today? So it's by University of Richmond back in 2011 by Allison and Goethals. They wanted to know what makes someone a hero, what are the attributes, and how people think about hero. So they asked 450 people between 18 to 72, in average they were around 32, and they asked who were their favorite heroes. So here's the question too. Who are your heroes? Give you a minute. Alright, let's come up with a finding. So 95% of them listed at least 2 heroes. So I'm sure you came up with 1 or 2. 2/3 listed 6 or more, so it's a lot. In just a few minutes, didn't take that much time. And on average, 5 heroes were listed. So basically everybody had heroes. I'm sure you did too. Maybe 2, 5, 10 even? Who knows? No one felt being asked to name heroes were silly or childish. It was very normal. So 32% mentioned the family members as their heroes. So it was surprising to the researchers. It was surprising to me too. Everybody had very respectable heroes in their family. So example here, what did they say? So my parents went through a rough time raising 6 kids, or my mother taught us never to give up, even though things very challenging at school, etc. So what are the common themes? Generosity, self-sacrifice, struggle, persistence, and faith. That's the characteristic here. So let's see what are the other 33%. So they were the public figures. So statements like President, George Washington, a sports athlete, Michael Jordan is famous. Social change visionaries can be Martin Luther King, an actors, actress, say operas. She's very famous still today. And 33% were fictional. And they are a lot more flawless and prototypical. So it can be coming from comic books, television, or movies. Here are the list. Yeah, Superman, Batgirl, Karate Kid, Rocky Balboa, Captain James Kirk, Han Solo, Star Wars, yeah. And can be literary figures as well, so they are from books, right? Roy Hobbs or Huckleberry Finn. But they are less popular than the above, probably because you need more imagination. These are a lot more visuals, these comic book characters. So they tested if fictional heroes were any better or worse than the real world hero. What are the difference of having the two? So out of the 450 adults they asked, they asked 10 of each. So 10 real world villains and real world heroes versus 10 fictional heroes versus 10 fictional heroes and 10 fictional villains. They wanted to compare the difference. So they took the list that came up from those 450 adults, and they asked 75 college students to rate from 0 to 10 how good or how evil they are. So fictional hero and villains were rated more extreme than the real characters. Fictional was rated at 8.7, while real hero was 7.8. It was similar for villains. fictional villains were worse than the real world villains. In this case, they didn't mention who were the real world villains. Probably better be safe that way. So what does it mean to have heroes? People have implicit ideas about what the hero is. I'm sure you do too. So what are the traits that define them? Everybody knows there are flaws in the heroes. Nobody's perfect, but we still look up to them and we behave like them, right? So they also asked these 75 college students to define hero traits. They asked 50 other students to group similar traits from the heroes and villains that came up. Those 20 that are listed, I think they did only heroes in this case. 20 from, so 10 from fictional and 10 from the real world. The study was very objective in that they first asked 450 adults to come up with a list, and they asked these different 50 college students to come up with those traits. And 8 clusters came up, and these were the list. So it was caring, charismatic, inspiring, reliable, resilient, selfless, smart, strong. So the list it sounds a little familiar, and they are similar to leaderships. Especially the charismatic leaders, reliable and integrity as well, selfless and reliable. So there, it's called servant leadership. So you serve the need for your followers. That's called servant leadership. Caring is the one trait that's found in hero, but not usually in leadership. So that was unique. Now I can think about maybe Mother Teresa. She was very caring and very heroic. So side note here, the researchers mentioned about Lincoln. He was apparently very ugly, and he was called original gorilla by General George back then. And the researchers were saying it hurt his charisma in the hero section, but he had great traits in strong, caring, resilient, and inspiring. So he made his icon into the hero character. So if you're not confident with your look, you can still be a hero. It's not all about it. And heroes' obstacles are not always villains or monsters or dragons. It can be often portrayed with lust. It's like a monk, like Buddhist monk. Like you have to focus, and like you shouldn't think about your girlfriend. Like you should just focus on your goal and achievement, single-mindedness. So that comes up often in the hero story. So hero brings narrative in the worldview. So it's not only you, but to your followers, that hero story will resonate. So why do we have heroes? Like leadership sounds a little too MBA. It's too much like you just want to be a billionaire. But having a hero is much more than that. Everybody has heroes from this study. What this study shows, not everybody wants to be a millionaire, but everybody has heroes. And researchers believe that it reflects a common tendency to identify with certain people as role models or guides for action, or particularly moral action. So we need these heroes to guide us. Heroes, after all, are believed to be inspiring. They inspire us to act in a certain way. They potentially energize or at least give guidance to our behavior. Freud called it differently. He called it the assimilation of the ego to another. So your ego is merging with this fictional or real hero. And you adapt your opinions to fit with that fictional or real hero person. It continues until you stop admiring them. So you have a choice. It's not given by anybody. You get to choose who your hero is. And having a stronger ideal makes you independent and action-driven. This is a key point. This is the best takeaway from this video. and resilience against adversity, and it lets you thrive towards your goal without other people telling you what you should do. It's very independent driven. It builds resilience and self-efficacy. So you won't be caring about the first failures, when your friends laughing at you when you're trying to challenge new things, or being ignored at your first sales call. It's quite difficult mentally. Or if you're like slow at a new job when you move to a new one. So I come from a software engineering background, but when I started blogging once a week, it felt very strange, and I needed to persist for like 2 months to fit with me. And during that time, I had this semi-hero who was a super blogger, for example. So what can you do with this? So you should sort out and find your heroes. You probably have a few heroes in your head right now. Some of your heroes might come from your childhood and you might have outgrown them. For example, you might have like Churchill when you were small, but now you want to improve your career, so you want to have cooperation or innovation type of leader in your mind rather than wartime hero. Maybe Steve Jobs. So reading biography is a good way to find new heroes, but books are a little bit challenging to read. Those biographies are often like 500 books, and to actually get into the characters or hero's mindset, you probably have to expose yourself over and over in a longer time span. So fictional heroes are better access. You can quickly look them up, and you can watch movies. Or the good thing about comics is they run for a really long time. Some are over 20 years or even 40 or 50 years, and you can immerse yourself with that hero a lot longer than, say, one book. You can read it today, next month, next year, or 5 years from now. You have more time to emotionally invest in that character and get into what he would do in this certain scenario. It's almost subconscious, so you really need to get into that emergence of ego. So comic book hero examples that you want to be, these are just examples. Spider-Man, he cares for grandma. He finds a career in a new position, so he's busy trying to make a living with the cameraman. It's his passion. And while maintaining a relationship with Mary Jane, while, of course, don't forget, he has to save the city. So I like Spider-Man for his multi-role in the hero archetype. It's not just one character trait. Or Iron Man. So he's an inventor and scientist. It might fit the Steve Jobs hero type. If you want to innovate, if you want to create innovation, being persistent, Iron Man might be a good way to look into. And after all, Iron Man saves the world and he comes up with this brilliant robot suit all by himself. How genius can he be? He's sporty as well, and even when he's older age, maybe around the 40s. Yeah, it's corporation public figure. So like how to appear in the public setting or in front of government. He's called out by parliament for hearing, for example. One Piece, I like it. It's manga, but still a hero comic book. He's, Luffy, the main character, gathers all these team members to hunt down a treasure. And it's a very team sports compared to other comics. So it fits with entrepreneurship. You need to find a co-founder, or you need to convince investors. It's not just one-man talent. One Piece might be a good role model for that. They are all my favorite. And of course, they're my favorite, so they turned out to be boys, but it can be girls as well. So read read hero stories when you need encouragement. When you face a challenge or adversary, it becomes norm, and when you read these stories, it helps you make it normal and put into narrative at life perspective. Especially when you need to have a complex decision and you have to choose how much you want to spend time on career building versus how much you should care for your family. Those are complex, and there are a lot of inspirational influencers on YouTube or blog or Instagram, but they are often one-dimensional. So it might be inspiring you to go work, but it doesn't tell you how much work you should do, for example. So hero narrative is better in this complex situation. Lastly, you want to be careful with your hero bias. So your hero builds who you are. At the same time, if you don't pick your admiring trait, you'll be missing that characteristic from your admiration. So it leaves a blind spot in whatever you want to do. For example, if you want to become a caring family dad, then those mentioned heroes would not be your right fit. You might want to pick a different one. So thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit like or subscribe. I make videos about how to improve our lives or science findings. And don't forget to check out Kaffae Extension. It boosts your memory, critical thinking, and self-awareness by tracking online reading. So thank you. See you next time.